branch in North London to workers in Scotland, some 75,000 local government workers across 32 authorities who are about to embark on their industrial action ballot from the 3rd of July. Now, the purpose of this resolution is not to engage in further ritual denunciation of the failures of the top table, though I have very little doubt that if there had been a clear call for rejection of the NJC employer's offer, the outcome of the recent consultation exercise would have been rather different. And I think it's worth reminding ourselves that where there was a clear-cut call for rejection in Scotland, there was just that, and a turnout of 27% in the ballot, as opposed to under 13% in England, Wales and the north of Ireland. But the issue now posed is where to now? How do we get to where we desperately need to be? And for that to happen, work must begin as soon as we finish this week's conferences. And that work must entail not only agitating, educating and organising among our own existing members, but reaching out, perhaps as never before, to other trade unionists, not least in the NUT and NAS-UWT, whose members are finally beginning a rolling programme of industrial action starting right here in the Northwest from the 27th of June. Now, the contentious element of this resolution seems to be around the notion of a flat rate claim. Well, why is Camden arguing for a flat rate? It's clear, it's simple, and we believe it has a mobilising potential that surpasses that of a percentage-based claim, not to mention that wonderfully elastic adjective, substantial. So by all means, consult branches about the content of a claim, but let's start on the basis of a flat rate that does the most for the lowest paid and does something to address often unjustified differentials. And finally, let us go forward from the banks of the Mersey with a real sense of urgency, recognising that real long-term pay cuts for the whole of the public sector workforce are central to the Tory-led coalition's agenda, and it has become increasingly obvious with almost every pronouncement from the two ends that Labour is not committed to putting the brakes on the long-term erosion of working-class living standards. It's up to us to stop it. Thank you. Yay. President, and good afternoon, sisters and brothers. George Bennett, Camden Local Government Branch, speaking in support of Motion 21, albeit with some reservations, because I think that the language of the motion itself reflects an underestimation of the scale of the ideological and legislative attack that we currently face on so-called health and safety. And recently we've had an illustration of the sheer petty arrogance of this government. It's sometimes breathtaking. Coalition ministers in the Department of Work and Pensions actually, for the first time ever since the establishment of the HSE board, vetoed a nomination from the TUC, that of Matt Rack, the General Secretary of the Fire Brigades Union, and someone who, for more than 20 years, was a serving London firefighter, and therefore someone who surely must know a thing or two about health and safety. Instead, we've seen the government appoint Jonathan Boehm, the retired General Secretary of what I will advisedly call the Union, the First Division Association, for senior managers in the civil service. But I wanted to concentrate on the perils of privatisation, as illustrated by the experience of our own branch. In Camden, we have seen in recent years 2 HSE prosecutions against the local authority, both as a result of fatalities, one of a young electrician, the other of a child of 18 months. And both fatalities involved private contractors ostensibly working for the people of Camden. The third prosecution in the pipeline follows life-threatening injuries to a worker on an outsourced contract as a security guard, who for weeks was unable to walk and who was actually without occupational sick pay. So by all means, let's recruit and train more health and safety reps across local government, but also